This is Host Jockeys Unite, the only episodic podcast that strives to not only educate and entertain those in emergency services, but to give an inside peek inside the fire and EMS services to the general public. We are here to leave a legacy for future generations. And now, here are your hosts, Chris Edwards and Jay Gallagher. Welcome to another episode of Host Jockeys Unite, the podcast that takes you on a journey through the fascinating events and untold stories that have shaped our world. I'm your host, Chris Edwards, and this is my co-host, Jay Gallagher.
Hello again, everybody.
Today we embark on a sobering exploration of a tragic event that forever changed fire safety regulations. In this episode, we peel back the layers of history to reveal the heart-wrenching story behind the Cocoanut Grove fire. On the evening of November 28, 1942, what began as a festive night of celebration quickly turned into one of the deadliest nightclub fires in American history. As we delve into this tragic tale, we'll uncover the historical context that set the stage for this unimaginable tragedy. We'll paint a vivid picture of the vibrant social scene of the 1940s and the allure of the Cocoanut Grove nightclub. But beneath the glamour and excitement, a deadly combination of negligence, flammable materials, and overcrowding lay in wait. Together, we'll journey through the events of that fateful night, from the moment the fire erupted to the frantic attempts of patrons and staff to escape the engulfing flames. Join us as we delve into the aftermath of the Cocoanut Grove fire, as investigators unravel the causes behind the tragedy and the consequential changes in fire safety regulations that followed. We'll explore the profound impact this disaster had on shaping fire safety practices, not only in the United States, but around the world. So sit back and prepare to journey into a chapter of history that reminds us of the importance of fire safety and the human cost of negligence. Let's unveil the Cocoanut Grove fire. But first, let's learn a little bit about our hosts. Stay with us. And as previously mentioned, my name is Chris Edwards, and I'm the host of the show. I began my career in the emergency services as a volunteer firefighter about 7 years ago. I've held positions both as a volunteer and as a paid firefighter over the past 7 years, and I've just recently become a full-time paid EMT. Jay, so tell us a little bit about your career. When did you begin in the fire service?
Started in 1986 as an explorer, or a junior firefighter as they call it now. Got voted on as a full member in 1989. I've been both paid and volunteer firefighter. I also held certifications of basic EMT all the way up to paramedic. And I've held everything in the fire department, firefighter, driver-operator, lieutenant, captain. Never made the chief ranks, though. I'm close. I retired out in 2015 after a long and distinguished career.
All right, very good, Jay. Thanks for that.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the show that we call Ask the Firefighter. This is the opportunity where you as civilians or even fire and rescue personnel can send us either through email or our Facebook page and ask a question for it to be answered here on our show. Tonight's question comes from our email from Taylor Wilson. Taylor asks, how do you stay calm and focused during high-stress emergency? Chris?
Well, my personal approach towards staying calm and focused in a high-stress emergency revolves around my mindset. To begin with, when the call is dispatched, I literally stop dead in my tracks. I close my eyes and just breathe deeply for a minute. This helps to calm me down and focus. Then I read the dispatch notes to see what we are dealing with. Unlike some people who get wound up at dispatch, then I am mentally prepared to respond. Although I move with purpose, I never get hurry and run around, regardless of the type of call. That way I can start mentally planning my next steps in my mind. I live by the saying I once heard an instructor tell me, it's not my emergency, it's your emergency. If I don't make it to the scene, I'm not good to you or can't help anyone. During the ride to the scene, I start to play the possible scenarios in my mind and what I would do to mitigate the problem. This also helps to keep me focused. Once on scene, after checking in with the IC for an assignment, I start to go to work. At this point, I put all the what ifs and what could happen in the back of my mind. I rely strictly on training and experience to get me through it. After the emergency is mitigated and my particular unit is demobilized, I try to do a mental debriefing to keep myself calm. To be honest, though, I have been on calls where, after the fact, I did kind of stress out when I realized what I had just been through. Once back at the station, a good incident debriefing and tabletop discussion is always a good tactic to de-stress from the incident. You can figure out what went well and what you and your team as a whole could have done differently. Jay, how about you? How do you stay calm and focused during high-stress emergencies?
Very simply, I know in the back of my mind that if it's my time to go, there's nothing that I can do to stop it. It's going to be my time. I'm gone. So not thinking about that helps me stay calmer than, what you would think. Like you, when I would get hyped up, it would be after I come out of the structure and looked at it, and I just went into that.
Right.
I'm surprised it's still standing. But worrying about, as you call the what if, you won't be able to think clearly on the task at hand, and could cause you to actually get hurt even worse than than just say, for instance, a turned ankle. So that's kind of been my thing, and I remain really, really calm. Believe it or not, I could be surrounded by fire and I could be just as calm as I would be sitting in church. I know it sounds weird to say, but it's true.
Exactly.
Keeping the what ifs out of my mind and focusing on the task at hand helped me overcome it tremendously.
Exactly. So if you have a question about the fire or EMS service that you would like to answer on the show, or if you'd like to learn how to become a volunteer firefighter, please send us an email at firefighter274@outlook.com.
Tragedy struck the vibrant city of Boston on a fateful November night in 1942, forever etching a dark chapter in its history. The bustling Cocoanut Grove nightclub, renowned for its lively ambiance and swinging tunes, transformed from a place of joy and celebration into an inferno of horror and despair. As flames engulfed the iconic venue, claiming the lives of hundreds, the Cocoanut Grove fire became a haunting reminder of the devastating consequences that can arise when safety measures are overlooked. Step back in time and relive the harrowing tale of an evening gone tragically wrong, leaving an indelible mark on Boston's collective memory.
The 1940s was a significant decade, marked by significant historical events and a distinctive social atmosphere. It was dominated by World War II, which started in 1939 and continued until 1945. The war had a profound impact on the social, political, and the economic aspects of society, shaping the entire decade. The early 40s witnessed the escalation of the war and its effects on people's lives. Many countries were involved in the conflict, with major powers such as the United States, the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and Germany playing central roles. The war brought forth a sense of unity and patriotism among nations, leading to a massive mobilization effort and significant social changes. The social atmosphere during this time was characterized by a strong sense of nationalism and sacrifice. People from all walks of life contributed to the war effort, either by enlisting in the military or supporting the war through various means. Rationing and shortages were common as resources were redirected to the war effort, affecting everyday life and consumption patterns. Women's roles underwent a notable transformation during the 1940s. With many men serving in the military, women stepped into a traditionally male-dominated job and industries, contributing significantly to the war effort. This period marked a significant shift in gender roles and set the stage for advancements in women's rights and gender equality in the following decades. In terms of culture and entertainment, the 1940s saw the rise of swing music and big band era, providing an escape from the harsh realities of war. Hollywood played a crucial role in boosting morale through films that depicted heroism and patriotism. Many iconic movies from this period are still celebrated today. The latter half of the decade was marked by the end of the war and subsequent post-war reconstruction. The devastation caused by the conflict paved the way for the establishment of international organizations such as the United Nations, aiming to promote peace and prevent future global conflicts. Overall, the 1940s was a tumultuous period defined by the impact of World War II. It left an indelible mark on society, shaping the course of history and setting the stage for significant social and cultural changes in the post-war era.
The Coconut Grove nightclub was one of the most popular and iconic entertainment venues in 1940. Before the fire, the Coconut Grove was renowned for its glamorous and vibrant atmosphere. It attracted a diverse crowd of celebrities, socialites, and the general public, making it a sought-after destination for entertainment. The club featured a tropical-themed decor with palm trees, artificial canopies, and spacious dance floor. The interior was adorned with luxurious furnishings, vibrant lighting, and a sophisticated ambiance. The Coconut Grove showcased various forms of entertainment, including live music, dancing, and performances by renowned artists and bands of the time. It featured popular big bands, such as those led by Benny Goodman and Artie Shaw, who played swing music and dominated the era. The nightclub offered a platform of both established musicians and rising stars to showcase their talent. The Coconut Grove's popularity was not limited to its entertainment offerings. It was also known for its excellent service, high-quality cuisine, and innovative cocktails. The venue offered an extensive menu and catered to the tastes of its clientele, providing an all-encompassing experience of entertainment, food, and ambiance.
However, the popularity and reputation of the Coconut Grove came to a tragic end on the night of November 28, 1942. The events leading up to the Coconut Grove fire are as follows. Number 1, evening crowd. On the night of November 28th, the Coconut Grove nightclub was bustling with patrons. It was a Saturday evening, and many people were drawn to the club's lively atmosphere, music, and entertainment. Decorative materials. The nightclub was decorated with highly flammable materials such as palm fronds, fabric coverings, and paper decorations. These materials were chosen to create an exotic and festive ambiance, but inadvertently contributed to the fire's rapid spread. Unauthorized alterations. To maximize occupancy and revenue, the club's management had made unauthorized alterations to the building. This included narrowing aisles, blocking and locking certain exits, and using flammable materials that did not meet fire safety standards. Ignition source. The exact ignition source of the fire was never definitively determined. However, it was believed to have been sparked by either a match or a lit cigarette that came into contact with the flammable decorations or upholstery in the basement lounge. Fire outbreak. The fire started shortly after 10 o'clock p.m. in the basement lounge area, which was known as the Melody Lounge, near the main entrance. The highly flammable materials in the immediate vicinity ignited quickly, creating intense flames and thick smoke that rapidly spread throughout the entire building. These materials included drapes, artificial palm trees, and flammable ceiling coverings. Panic and chaos. As the fire engulfed the club, panic and chaos ensued. Thick smoke filled the air, hindering visibility and making it difficult for people to find their way out. The rapidly spreading flames and limited time to escape contributed to the sense of panic and confusion. Trapped patrons. Some of the exits were either blocked, locked, or difficult to locate due to poor signage. The malfunctioning revolving door at the main entrance became jammed, trapping numerous patrons inside the burning building. Rescue efforts and response efforts. The Boston Fire Department responded to the fire quickly, but they faced challenges due to the crowded conditions and blocked exits. Firefighters worked tirelessly to extinguish the flames, rescue trapped victims, and transport the injured to the hospitals.
Details of the events of November 28, 1942 are: the exact cause of the fire remains uncertain, but it is believed to have been ignited by a match or a cigarette in a storage area that contained combustible materials. The nightclub had numerous code violations, including locked exits, inadequate fire escapes, and insufficient emergency lighting. The main entrance was narrow and quickly became congested, with panicked patrons trying to escape. The lack of fire safety measures and poor evacuation procedures contributed to the high death toll. Many people were trapped inside the nightclub and struggled to find a way out. The flames and smoke quickly engulfed the building, causing chaos and panic among the patrons. Some managed to break windows or find alternative exits, while others were unable to escape due to the blocked and locked doors. Firefighters and emergency responders arrived at the scene to battle the blaze and rescue those trapped inside. However, the intense heat and smoke made rescue efforts extremely challenging. The fire was eventually brought under control, but by then, 492 people had lost their lives, and hundreds more were injured.
Several circumstances contributed to the rapid spread of the Cocoanut Grove fire. Highly flammable materials. The nightclub's interior was adorned with flammable decorations, including palm fronds, paper decorations, and fabric coverings. These materials ignited quickly and fueled by the fire, causing it to spread rapidly throughout the building. Lack of fire-resistant materials. The nightclub's furnishings and fixtures were not made of fire-resistant material. This allowed the fire to engulf the premises more easily and intensify its spread. Limited fire barriers. The layout of the club lacked proper fire barriers or compartmentalization. This meant that once the fire started, it could move freely throughout the building without being contained, leading to the rapid spread of flames. Inadequate fire suppression systems. The Cocoanut Grove had minimal fire suppression systems in place. Fire extinguishers were insufficient in number and not easily accessible, and there were no sprinklers or automatic fire suppression systems installed. This lack of effective fire suppression equipment allowed the fire to grow unchecked. As mentioned before, overcrowding. The club was packed with patrons that night, exceeding its permitted capacity. The crowd conditions made it challenging for people to move quickly and find escape routes. The congestion hindered both the evacuation efforts and the ability of emergency personnel to access the building. Confusing layouts and blocked exits. The nightclub had a complex layout with multiple entrances and exits. Unfortunately, these exits were not clearly marked, and some were locked or blocked. This prevented people from quickly and easily escaping the building, trapping them within the rapidly spreading fire. Revolving door malfunction. The main entrance of the Cocoanut Grove featured a revolving door, which became jammed during the panic and the chaos of the fire. The malfunctioning door created a bottleneck and prevented people from exiting efficiently. These circumstances created a deadly combination, allowing the fire to spread rapidly and trapping many individuals inside the Cocoanut Grove, leading to a high number of casualties. The tragic event highlighted the importance of implementing fire-resistant materials, effective fire suppression systems, and clear and accessible emergency exits to prevent the rapid escalation of fires in public spaces.
Okay, now the aftermath of Cocoanut Grove fire remains one of the deadliest nightclub fires in history, and led to significant changes in fire safety regulations and also fire codes across the United States. It prompted improved building standards, fire prevention measures, and stricter enforcement of fire safety regulations to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Building codes were revised to include stricter requirements for emergency exits, occupancy limits, and fire-resistant materials. Fire safety inspections became more rigorous, and training programs for emergency personnel were improved. The investigation into the Cocoanut Grove fire was led by the Boston Fire Department with the assistance from various other agencies and experts. The goal was to determine the cause of the fire and identify any factors that contributed to the high number of casualties. Investigators concluded that the fire started in the basement lounge near the main entrance. They believed it was most likely ignited by either a match or a lit cigarette that came into contact with flammable decorations or upholstery. The exact ignition source could not be definitely determined. The rapid spread of the fire was attributed to the highly flammable materials used in the nightclub interior decor, including palm fronds, paper decorations, and fabric coverings. The lack of fire-resistant materials and the crowded conditions within the club exacerbated the situation. Another major contributing factor to the high death toll was the inadequate fire safety measures. Emergency exits were insufficiently marked, and some of them were locked or blocked, preventing people from escaping. The revolving door at the main entrance became jammed, trapping numerous individuals inside. Inadequate training and preparedness among the staff further hindered the evacuation efforts. The investigation also uncovered violations of various fire safety codes and regulations. The nightclub had exceeded its permitted capacity, and numerous safety hazards were present, including faulty wiring and inadequate fire extinguishers. These findings highlighted the need for stricter enforcement of fire safety standards in public establishments. The Cocoanut Grove fire investigation served as a catalyst for enhancing the safety practices not only in Boston, but also across the United States. The tragic event highlighted the importance of proper fire safety measures and contributed to the implementation of more stringent regulations to prevent similar disasters in the future. The changes in fire safety regulations are as a result.
Here are some of the key changes that occurred as a result of the tragedy. One of the most significant changes was the implementation of strict exit regulations in public spaces. The Cocoanut Grove fire highlighted the dangers of inadequate exits and overcrowding, leading to regulations that specify the number, width, and accessibility of exits based on occupancy capacity. Emergency lighting and exit signs. The fire's darkness and confusion made it difficult for people to find their way to safety. In response, fire codes were updated to require the installation of emergency lighting and illuminated exit signs in public buildings. These measures aimed to provide clear guidance during emergencies. The Cocoanut Grove fire demonstrated the critical importance of having effective fire suppression systems in place. As a result, the fire codes were revised to require the installation of automatic sprinkler systems in various types of buildings, including nightclubs, theaters, and other high occupancy venues. The materials used in the interior decoration and furnishings of the Cocoanut Grove nightclub significantly contributed to the rapid spread of fire. To address this, the fire codes were updated to restrict the use of highly flammable materials, such as certain types of fabrics, wall coverings, and decorative elements in public spaces. The tragedy also exposed the danger of overcrowding and the need for proper seating layouts in public venues. Fire codes were revised to establish occupancy limits based on the capacity of the space, ensuring that there is sufficient room for people to move safely and efficiently during an emergency. Following the Cocoanut Grove fire, fire codes placed greater emphasis on regular fire inspections and safety training for both building owners and staff. Inspections became more rigorous, focusing on fire exits, emergency lighting, electrical systems, and other crucial safety aspects. The challenges faced during the Cocoanut Grove fire highlighted the importance of effective communication during emergencies. Fire codes were updated to require the installation of a reliable communication system, such as intercoms or public address systems, to disseminate emergency information and instructions to the occupants. And finally, safety awareness and education. The tragedy spurred a greater emphasis on fire safety education and public awareness campaigns. Efforts were made to educate the public about. And now Jay's going to talk about how we're going to remember the victims.
In the aftermath of this tragedy, several memorials were created to honor the victims and ensure that the event would not be forgotten. Excuse me. Cocoanut Grove Fire Memorial, Boston, Mass. The main memorial for the Cocoanut Grove fire is located in Boston's Bay Village neighborhood near the site of the former nightclub. It was dedicated on November 28, 2005, on the 63rd anniversary of the fire. The memorial consists of a sculpture called Remembrance by artist Ivan Schwartz. It features three bronze figures representing a man, a woman, and child, surrounded by a granite plaza with engraved names of the victims. Memorial plaques and markers throughout Boston. Several plaques and markers have been placed to remember the Cocoanut Grove fire. These markers are often found near the former locations of victims' homes or at the sites associated with the fire. They serve as reminders of the tragedy and the lives that were lost. They have annual memorial services. Every year on November 28th, a memorial service is held in Boston to honor the victims of the Cocoanut Grove fire. The service includes readings, remembrances, and moments of silence. Family members, survivors, and community members gather to pay their respects and keep the memory of the fire alive. Scholarships and charitable foundations. In memory of the victims, scholarships and charitable foundations have been established. These initiatives provide financial assistance to the students pursuing careers in fire safety, emergency medicine, or related fields. By supporting education and research, these foundations contribute to preventing future tragedies and improving safety standards.
While the Cocoanut Grove had been a symbol of glamour and entertainment, the tragic fire of 1942 serves as a somber reminder of the importance of safety precautions and the need for stringent regulations to protect patrons in public spaces. And we'll now give a moment of silence in remembrance.
Today's pro tip is practice active listening. Pay attention to instructions, details, and feedback from experienced firefighters and EMS providers. Active listening improves your learning curve. Chris?
Well, active listening is a fundamental skill that holds immense significance in the context of firefighting and emergency medical services. In these demanding and high-stress environments, practicing active listening can greatly enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of emergency responders. By actively engaging in the process of listening, firefighters and EMS professionals can gather critical information, understand the unique needs of individuals affected by emergencies, and establish clear lines of communication with both their team members and the victims they are assisting. Active listening involves more than just passively hearing what is being said. It requires focused attention, empathetic understanding, and the ability to provide appropriate responses. In the firefighting and EMS context, active listening entails attentively processing verbal and nonverbal cues, deciphering complex information, and making rapid decisions based on gathered intelligence. One of the primary benefits of active listening in these emergency services is the ability to enhance situational awareness. By fully engaging with the information being communicated, responders can gain a comprehensive understanding of the evolving situation at hand. They can pick up on vital details such as the nature and extent of the emergency, potential hazards or risks, and the needs and conditions of the individuals involved. This heightened awareness enables them to respond more effectively, make informed decisions, and take appropriate actions to mitigate the emergency. Moreover, active listening fosters effective communication and coordination within the emergency response team. By actively listening to their colleagues, firefighters and EMS professionals can exchange vital information, provide updates, and coordinate their efforts in a cohesive and synchronized manner. Clear and accurate communication is crucial during emergency situations, as it ensures that everyone is on the same page and working towards the same objectives. Active listening helps prevent misunderstandings, minimizes confusion, and enhances the overall efficiency and effectiveness of emergency response. In addition to internal communication, active listening is equally important when interacting with individuals in distress or crisis. By demonstrating genuine empathy and understanding, emergency responders can establish trust and rapport with those affected by the emergency. Active listening enables them to create a safe and supportive environment where victims feel comfortable expressing their needs, concerns, and fears. This in turn helps responders provide appropriate care and assistance, address immediate needs, and offer reassurance during a highly stressful and traumatic experience. By integrating active listening into their skill set, firefighters and EMS professionals can also anticipate potential challenges and complications. They can quickly identify any discrepancies or inconsistencies in the information being provided, which can aid in accurate decision-making and resource allocation. Active listening enables responders to ask pertinent questions, seek clarifications, and gather additional information, all of which contribute to more comprehensive assessment of the situation. In conclusion, active listening is a critical skill that significantly impacts the effectiveness of firefighting and emergency medical services. By actively engaging with information being conveyed, responders can enhance situational awareness, foster effective communication and coordination, establish trust with the victims, and anticipate challenges. By prioritizing active listening, emergency responders can provide better care and assistance to those in need, while also ensuring their own safety and successful resolution of the emergency at hand. And that brings us to the end of our journey through the haunting history of the Cocoanut Grove fire. We hope this episode has shed light on the devastating events that unfolded on that November night in 1942 and the lasting impact that it had on fire safety regulations. The Cocoanut Grove fire serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of negligence and the importance of prioritizing safety in public spaces. It was a tragedy that shocked the nation and spurred significant changes in fire codes and regulations, leading to improvements in building design, emergency exits, and fire prevention measures. As we reflect on this dark chapter in history, it's crucial that we continue to honor the memory of these victims and the lessons learned from this tragedy. Let us never forget their lives, cut short by circumstances that could have been prevented. We encourage you, our listeners, to remain vigilant about fire safety in your own lives and communities. Take the time to familiarize yourself with safety protocols. Check smoke alarms regularly. Ensure that public spaces you frequent adhere to necessary safety measures. We also invite you to dig deeper into the stories and accounts of the survivors and victims of the Cocoanut Grove fire. Their experiences serve as a poignant reminder for the resilience of the human spirit and the importance of cherishing each moment we have. Jay, what are your thoughts?
I can't disagree with the thing that you said. There is a couple things I will add to it. Like, for instance, if and when you go on vacation and you go to a motel, before you go to your room, check where your fire exits are. Check where there's a public, find out where the public fire extinguishers are at. And make sure you keep it all in the back of your mind just in case. Because you never know, it could save your life. that's one thing that I always do when we go somewhere is check check for my emergency exits, fire extinguishers, where's the smoke alarms located, pull stations, things like that. So that's my tip for that part.
Okay. Hey, Jay.
Oh God, yeah.
Why do volunteer firefighters understand the importance of milliseconds? Because that's the amount of time it takes before they tell someone that they are a volunteer firefighter.
Toy vey. Yeah. Don't give up your day job.
So tune into our next show where we will travel out west and join us on a podcast journey that will take you deep into the fiery heart of the Arizona mountains. Stay tuned for Fire on the Mountain, a podcast tribute to the Granite Mountain Hotshots. Our next episode that will leave you burning for more. We wanted to make sure to remind you of our upcoming monthly live show, The Day Room, Host Jockeys After Hours. This is an unstructured live show that we discuss whatever comes to mind. We will stream live to our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and now Twitch. Our viewers are encouraged to participate via chat. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. We are listed with all the major platform services. We'll see you next time. You've been listening to Hose Jockeys Unite. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and please tell your friends about us. And always remember, even truckies need love too. In the heart of the untamed wilderness, where flames danced with the wind, heroes emerged. They were the Granite Mountain Hotshots, an elite crew of firefighters who faced the inferno with unmatched courage. Now, their untold stories come to life in a podcast tribute like no other. Join us as we journey into the heart of the fire and dive deep into the lives of these brave men. Fire on the Mountain, a podcast tribute to the Granite Mountain Hotshots, takes you behind the smoke, shedding light on the extraordinary sacrifices and unyielding camaraderie that defined the Hotshots. From their triumphs to their heart-wrenching moments, this podcast uncovers the untold tales that will ignite your spirit. Through meticulous research and expert analysis, we honor their legacy. Feel the heat as we uncover the secrets of their training, the challenges they faced, and the moments that tested their mettle. Join us as we pay tribute to these fallen heroes and explore the lasting impact they left on their community, their families, and firefighting history itself. From the ashes of tragedy rises a story of unwavering bravery, reminding us all that even in the face of danger, ordinary men can become extraordinary legends. Fire on the Mountain, a podcast tribute to the Granite Mountain Hotshots, coming in July, where heroes are born and legends are forged.